Hello, it's Dr. Darnese, and today I'm talking to you about not putting new wine in old wineskins. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about how we are evolving as women over 40, over 50, maybe even into your 60s. We are evolving and we're not who we used to be earlier in life. And there's no sense in trying to bring those old identities, old habits, old roles into the present moment or taking them into the future with you. Now, I want to say right off the bat, like at this stage in life, I hope you know that you are enough. You don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore, and you don't need anybody's permission, right? You can give yourself permission. You can step into who you want to be now just because you wake up and say so. That is the glory, the benefit of being, in our age range, right? We have a certain freedom, a certain confidence that we didn't have earlier in life. And so now here we are in this phase where we've done a lot, we've carried a lot of the weight, we've, been primary caretakers for everybody, for children, for neighborhood kids, for elders, co-workers. I'm a college professor, or I was. And so other people's children in the classroom, other teachers, I'm sure you feel me. Now, why did I say I was? Because I'm shifting too. And that's why I'm coming on here making these videos with y'all, because I want you to know I'm moving into a different stage of my life as well. So I'm still teaching a little bit part-time online and that kind of thing, but my major identity for probably 20 years, maybe more really, but I would say 20 years, has been a college professor in the classroom. And, I have master's and PhD in religion and history, and that's been a major part of my identity. It's how I've been functioning, right, in the world. But you know what? That's not the entirety of who I am. Because now that I'm no longer in that university, because let me tell you, life in universities these days is hectic. And, depending on what your field is, you're in the crosshairs of that man in the White House. I teach religion and history, African American religion and history, right? Intro to African American Studies. Yes, the crosshairs of that. Now, fortunately, I had already been planning my departure, my shift, because I couldn't be somebody who was waiting or hoping to still have a job until retirement, not the way things are now, right? So you may find that you are in a season of transition because you want to be, or because the nature of your work has shifted, doesn't exist anymore. Your kids are grown. They don't need you like that anymore. They still need you, but you know what I'm saying? They don't need you to like make every meal for them and pick them up every place. And so your identity is shifting. And so what you don't want to do is let who you've been prevent you from growing into who you're going to be next. So I'm going to ask you, who are you now? And what do you want going forward? You have more time on your hands, probably, even though you might be taking care of others, you might be taking care of your own parents, right? You have more time and you have more wisdom, you have more confidence. And let me tell you, if you don't have that confidence, then you need to book a session with me so you can get some of that, right? I teach confidence, courage, yes, because we don't play around. At this stage in life, again, we don't have to ask permission. We get to set the stage for our own lives at this point. So I want to ask you to think about the difference between radiance and resilience. Radiance and resilience. Resilience is when you've had to, take a lot of hits, you've had to, carry a lot of the burden, and you've developed resiliency, meaning you know how to bounce back from a setback, you know how to deal when things are hard, you know how to do hard things, right? You know how to manage multiple things, you know how to carry heavy weight, and you become resilient, like the microaggressions at work, right? Or maybe the microaggressions from your partner, your spouse. Shade, we call it. People throwing shade. hmm And so you have learned how to carry that and to still be professional. Because in your workplace, you couldn't be the one to lose your temper, right? Couldn't come across as the angry black woman. No. So you became resilient. And that meant, You had to develop a tougher skin, thick skin. You had to learn how to roll with the punches, and people could say things or you could get overlooked, except for when it came time to do the work, right? Then they gave it to you because you're so competent. Hmm. Okay, so you've learned to be resilient, but now, what if you step into your era of being radiant? Radiant means that you get to be authentic. And really, that's the key to everything, being authentic, being who you really want to be, because that doesn't feel like work, right? If you want to, do something like start your own business at this point, or spend more time on your creative projects, which I have a whole playlist about stepping into your creativity. Maybe you want to do that. Maybe you've always wanted to write or to paint or, to go to cooking school. Remember, Khalees, Khalees, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. That Khalees, right? She got a divorce and went to culinary school, and now she has a farm in Kenya. That's what I'm talking about. Radiance. And people try to hate on her for various reasons. People try to hate on various women, especially Black women, when we level up and announce to the world that I'm not carrying all this weight that belongs to other people. I'm not doing all the things for other people. I'm going to center myself, and I'm going to, first of all, get my rest and my peace, right? I'm going to, first of all, get my rest and my peace, because I can't be radiant if I'm exhausted. Let's just be clear. I can only be radiant when I am rested and in my authenticity and clear on where I want to go next, right? So when I walk into a room and my radiance shines forth, right? Where people just look at you and say, "Oh, hey, what are you doing? You look rested, or your skin looks great, or, what are you doing? You look, they notice because you've made a decision about some things, how you're going to spend your time, how you're going to spend your life, right? So I'm asking you to consider what that looks like for you, what it would look like for you. Now, because we're beyond the struggle, we're beyond the hustle, right? We're not doing this hustle culture thing anymore. We're not doing that. We've carried that as a strong Black woman. We had the superwoman cape on already. And now 40, 50, we're not doing that. So what does it look like to be, well, I'll say soft and strong, because we already know you're strong. You've already weathered many a storm and maybe weathering one now, or there will be another one, right? So you know how to do that. But now you can be soft too, because you decide to be. You can just decide that I'm just not going to carry that cape anymore and be, everybody else's salvation and the solution to other people's problems. Because when you're the solution to other people's problems, guess what? They keep having problems and they keep expecting you to be the solution. And so, I have a friend of mine I work out with, and she's always so extra crazy busy for her family, for her church, for her job. She can hardly come to our exercise class because she's doing stuff for so many other people. And she just keeps saying, well, once I get this, or once I get that, I said, do you realize that all the years I've known you, just a couple of years I've known you, you keep saying that. And that's the thing. If you set yourself up to be the solution to other people's problem, you will always be in that role for them. And that's why when you decide, hey, I'm doing a new thing now, some people are going to resist. Some people are going to be mad. Some people are going to, have fuss and throw a tantrum. And you just have to say, I'm not putting my new wine in old wineskins. I am crafting a new life for myself. And y'all are going to have to get used to it, right? Now, when you're 30, remember how that seemed impossible to do? We were so worried about what people were going to think and what about this one's going to be disappointed and all of that. But now we don't have time for that no more, right? And you probably heard of the We Do Not Care Club. If you have not, then just Google it. We Do Not Care Club. It's for women who are perimenopausal and menopausal. We do not care, okay? So I just want to ask you, what are you going to do this week to take one thing off your plate that you do not want to do? Take one thing off your plate that you do not want to do. The thing that, oh, I should, I'm supposed to, but really you'd rather stay home or you'd rather go somewhere else and do something else. What one thing are you getting ready to take off? take off your plate, or a mask. You could take a mask off that you've been carrying for a long time. You've been wearing that mask to appease other people. Mm. So you can shine through, right? This is part of being radiant. So you can shine through. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. So if this message has touched you in some way, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, send it to another woman who you know needs it and who also deserves her glow up. All right. So I'm Dr. Darnese, and I will see you next time on Black Women Deserve More.